Hello everyone and welcome to our Flutter tutorial series. In previous lecture, we have seen the installation of Flutter, Visual Studio Code and emulator inside Android Studio. We also created a first project in Flutter inside Visual Studio Code and run in the previous lecture. In this video, we will be diving deep into the structure of Flutter project. Whether you are new to Flutter or looking to deepen your understanding, this guide is for you. Let's embark on understanding each component of a typical Flutter project. So go to the project directory. In the first idea folder houses configurations specific to Android Studio, the IDE may Flutter developers use. Inside, you might find files like workspace.xml and module.xml, which store project-specific settings. However, if you are not using Android Studio, you can safely disregard the contents of these folders. Inside the idea folder, there are also two subdirectories like libraries and run configuration. In library folder, you will typically find XML files corresponding to the libraries and dependencies used in your project. These XML files contain information about library versions, sources, and paths, facilitating seamless integration of external libraries into your project. In the second folder, Run Configurations, you will find XML files that store run configuration for your Flutter project. These configurations specify how your project should be executed, including parameters, environment variables, and more. Let's move to the another main directory, which is Android. This folder contains Android project setup. When you compile your Flutter app for Android, Flutter merges your Dart code with this native project. These integrations allow you to access platform-specific features and functionalities. In Android folder, you will find some directories like Gradle and app and some uh, important files. So let's discuss app directory. The app folder contains the core Android application files, including resources, manifests, and code. In this, you will find the Android manifest.xml. The app folder contains the core Android application files, including resources, manifests, and code. It is where you will find the Android manifest.xml file, which specifies essential information about your Android app, such as its name, permissions, and activities. Here is the file, Android manifest.xml files, where you will find essential information about your Android app, such as name, permission, and activities. In the next folder, Gradle folder, this folder contains scripts and configuration files for Gradle build system, which is used to build Android projects. You will find files such as build.gradle and Gradle wrapper.properties, which define project settings and configurations. Here is the Gradle wrapper properties file. There are also some important files inside Android folder like gradlew and gradlew.bat files. These files are Gradle wrapper scripts used to execute Gradle commands without requiring a globally installed version of Gradle. They facilitate consistent and reproducible build across different environments. Moving to the next folder, which is build. Build folder is generated by Flutter during the build process. It contains output files and artifacts produced during the compilation, testing, and packaging of your Flutter project. While the contents of build folder are not typically edited directly, understanding this structure can provide insight into the build process and aid in troubleshooting in future. Here's also the same folder, iOS like Android. This folder also contains the configuration regarding iOS related things. Currently we are focusing on Android, so we will discuss Android folder only, and nothing is important in iOS if you are going with the Android project. In the next main directory, which is lib, this folder serve as the heart of your Flutter project. Lib folder here serve as heart of your Flutter project. Here you will spend the majority of your time crafting Flutter code. Here you can see the main.dart file located within this folder serve as entry point of your application, initiating apps execution. This is a kind of file which you have seen in a Java, like having a method, public static void main in a C sharp, having a main function in a C or other languages. In languages, there's a file, there's a class file which is having a main method, public static void main. That method is basically working as an entry point of that languages. In Flutter, this file is working as an entry point of your entire Flutter project. So this is basically heart of your project. In the next folder, which is Mac OS, let's discuss the web folder, then we will discuss the Mac OS folder. In a web folder, the web folder is where you will find the files and configuration for building your Flutter app for the web. You encounter files such as index.xml and main.dart file, which serve as the entry points for your web application. So this is basically when you try to run your project on a web application like Chrome or any other browser. So where you will utilize this folder, web folder. And same like Windows, when you are trying to run your project inside a Windows machine, like a desktop application, this folder will help you to run your Flutter app. And this folder provides the basic functionalities, basic dependencies uh, that can help your project to be executed on your Windows machine. Basically, the Windows folder contains the necessary files and configuration for building your Flutter app for the Windows platform. Inside, you will find the project files specific to the Windows platform, facilitating the generation of native Windows application from your Flutter code base. Same like the Windows, there is a folder like Mac OS. This folder also serves same like the Windows folder, Mac folder also houses files and configuration for build your Flutter app for the Mac OS platform. Inside, you will find project files tailored to Mac OS development. Let's discuss the important files which is created the Flutter project. The first of all, the main file is gitignore. This text file instructs Git to ignore specific files, directories, and patterns when tracking changes in your project. This text file instructs Git to ignore specific files, directories, or patterns when tracking changes in your project. For instance, it commonly excludes temporary files, builds, artifacts, and ID-specific configuration from version controlling, ensuring a cleaner repository. Here you can see the basic structure of the file, which creates a Flutter project. In the next file, which is .metadata, this auto-generated file managed by Flutter tools tracks project properties, while its contents are primarily used internally. You may occasionally encounter it when troubleshooting or configuring your Flutter project. Flutter also create a .iml file with the name of your project name. So this file basically contains additional settings managed by the Flutter SDKs. It's primarily used internally and rarely requires manual intervention from developers. Next file, which we are going to discuss is pubspec.log. The auto-generated file derived from pubspec.yaml provides detailed dependency information. It ensures consistency, dependency resolution by locking dependency versions, thus maintaining a stable development environment. Basically, these configurations or dependencies have been logged inside this file. Our next important file is pubspec.yaml. This YAML formatted file serves as the configuration hub for your Flutter project. Here you define project metadata such as names, description, and version, as well as dependencies, assets, and more. It's crucial for managing projects dependencies and in configuring various aspects of your Flutter app. So we are using this file to maintain our main properties of the project, like name and description and version and environment and SDK version. In the last file, readme.md, this auto-generated markdown file serves as project overview and documentation hub. It is commonly used to provide instructions, use guidelines, and project information for collaborators and the users. In this tutorial, you have gained a comprehensive understanding of the structure of a Flutter project. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe